If you don't create that habit, if you don't have that reality, you will blow through stops when you're live. Again, you want to make it so that when you leave the sim and you go live, nothing changes. By getting these things right, it means that when you go live, you're going to be able to do that in the right way. So once you stop trading on demo and go live with real capital, the way you do this, and like I said, there's no finite rule. I think what you don't want to do is go live because you got bored of trading on demo. I've seen somebody do this recently and it cost them quite significantly. So that is not the solution. What you will want to be looking at is trying to answer a few questions for yourself. Those being, have you got a clear process? Can you say, right, this is exactly what I do? So if I sat down with you and I said, right, tell me exactly what you do on a day-to-day basis, and you could consistently do that, that's a tick. Do you know what your style is? Could you tell me exactly how you trade? What the types of trades are that you look for? What your style is? And if you're not sure what your style is, then I would suggest you don't know, in which case you then need to ask yourself, do you need to be live yet? You need to know before you go live what your style is, what you do, where your edge is. What is it that you do particularly well? What is it that's going to make you profitable in future? Again, you need to have that nailed down. The most important things are, can you actually stick to rules on the sim? Too many times I see people trade on a sim and they treat it like, not like a game. They'll sort of trade and maybe they make a bit of money, maybe they lose. But when they start to lose, they go, I wouldn't do this if I was live. So I'm just going to trade a bit more and we'll average this and we'll get the money back. It's an ego thing. You don't want to be down, but that's not realistic. What is realistic is you say to yourself, right, this is what I would do when I'm live. I have a daily stop here. And if I hit it, I stop trading and stick to that. And if you can do that on a sim, that at least shows and allows you to create a habit of doing that. If you don't create that habit, if you don't have that reality, you will blow through stops when you're live. You won't manage yourself properly. You won't manage your risk properly. And the other thing is, do you trade realistic size in the sim? Again, the amount of people, you know, they'll trade a one lot, a two lot, and then they start to lose and they're suddenly trading 20s to try and get it back. That's not realistic. Again, you want to make it so that when you leave the sim and you go live, nothing changes. If you're starting to bring in much bigger size to recover losses, again, you're not ready. That's the way to try and look at it. Get these things right. By getting these things right, it means that when you go live, you're going to be able to do that in the right way. If you're not doing it, what you do, and the way I would always look at this is every time you fail in sticking to rules, every time you don't trade realistic size, tick that off as one more day that you'll never be live, one more day that you'll never achieve what you want to achieve. That's the way I would kind of view that. Right. How do you transition from trading part-time to going full-time? How do you know when you're ready? Ultimately, really, it's a case of, it's a leap of faith that you've got to say to yourself, right, well, what you've got to do is you've got to look at it as and kind of accept the downside. You know, if you're trading part-time, I'm going to make a broad assumption here that you're also working a job. Now, if you go full-time, you'll quit that job. Therefore, you have an opportunity cost. You earn X, your trading needs now to cover that. Chances are it doesn't immediately. So you have to accept that you are likely to take a dip in earnings. That's the first thing, because if you try and achieve what you used to be earning straight away, you weren't doing that when you were trading part-time. And now that you're trading more sessions and more periods, you may find that there's actually new things that you may be good or not good at. So your performance is not suddenly going to jump. So it's about a kind of a leap of faith and a comfort and acceptance that you are going to have to take a dip in earnings likely, and then you can start to grow from there. So there's an added bit of pressure because you're going from doing something part-time, which is making you a bit of money, and be honest with yourself. Is it making you a bit of money? Can you genuinely scale that? Because if you're trading part-time and you're making maybe $300 a month, you've got to think about that and go, right, can I genuinely scale this? And the only ways to scale it are to increase your size or to find new trades, because you can't make the trades that you currently take do anything more than they currently do. So that's where you've got to be honest with yourself. Can you scale this? Do you genuinely believe you can find more trades and accept that you're not going to perform in the same way immediately, earnings wise, that you once were?